few moments later.
Let me talk my shit again. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What it do, what it do, what it do. This is the Talk My Shit Again podcast. And I'm your hostile host. I ain't got shit to be humble about. Y'all know what time it is. And before we get into the content, I appreciate y'all. Continue to like, share, subscribe, comment. It goes a long way. I am very grateful and thankful. But let's go ahead and get into this, man. It is obviously not Victory Monday. It is Victory Wednesday. And why are we still celebrating? Because it ain't week 4 yet. Week 4 starts tomorrow. And really and truly, as you saw in that opening clip, there's a lot of people that had no hopes and really no belief that we could do what we did on Sunday in New Orleans in that hostile environment. And really and truly, when it comes to the Saints fans, or some Saints fans, I would say, and even a lot of the Saints players, I got no respect for y'all. Fuck y'all. And y'all can hold that L as long as y'all hands are working. Because really and truly, the way that they were playing, obviously, we know what happened to Smitty. That's on the refs. I'm going to put that on the refs not blowing the whistle. But when it comes to a play like that, where Slade absolutely got bulldozed by a lineman into the bench. Like, come on, bro. Everybody, this is a physical game. This is football. But we got to keep it clean because these guys are grown men. And this is their livelihoods. They got to support their families. And playing dirty, I've never been a fan of that shit because I don't wish injuries on nobody. So for that being said, a guy playing dirty and injuring one of our best defensive players, our best DBs, I got no respect for y'all. Fuck y'all and hold this L. And we're going to get into it because we got a lot of things to touch on. Obviously, we know this was a low-scoring game, unlike a lot of people predicted. But the defense, Vic Fangio absolutely showed up when we needed them the most. I mean, again, we know what's going on here. We know what's going on when it comes to this defense and what they did on Sunday because everybody damn near showed up. We know these edge rushers are just, at this point, pretty much guys that just get cardio. But when it comes to these DTs, these D tackles, these linebackers, these DBs, these guys were primed and ready for a tough matchup. Yeah, we made these guys look pedestrian and regular. But leading up to this, these are world beaters that everybody was saying. You saw the receipts. Everybody and their mother who doesn't even watch football picked the Saints to beat us in their house because these guys put up 90 points back-to-back weeks against Carolina Panthers, who just won, and against the Cowboys, who obviously are mid, but they still put up a lot of points in them too. So given the way our defense was looking, it was hard for us to even conceptualize the game going the way that it did, and for us to even win in that hostile environment without AJ and then the injuries we had throughout the game. But as you see right here, Jordan Davis stepping up. He has a sack before Jaylen Carter, and that's not an indictment on Jaylen Carter, but this is just huge for a guy who's supposed to be a run stuffer and absolutely getting guys out the way and making a play when we needed it because this defense held us down all game. And I just mentioned the man. He's not a myth. He's going to be a legend in Philly. Jaylen Carter is an absolute monster and a dog, and they just couldn't do anything with him throughout the entirety of the game. Especially when that center went down, and I even tweeted, with that center going down, we have to take advantage. The defense was already doing its job, but they absolutely, and let me not even say they, Jaylen Carter, number 98, y'all better watch out for that man. Because right now, he's on a mission to prove everybody wrong, including himself. He knows that he can be better week in and week out, and even up until this point, in one of his best games, he still thinks it's not good enough, not even remotely good enough for him and his standards. And that's what you want out of a young player who's going to be thrusted into a leadership role very soon, if not already. We don't have Fletcher Cox no more. The only leader really on that D-line is Brandon Graham, who's about to retire. He's older than me. You know what I'm saying? So he's going to absolutely have to step up. And his play is showing and bearing out this shit on a weekly basis. I already mentioned again, the linebackers. And a lot of people had a lot to say about C.J. Gardner-Johnson and being a revenge game for him. It was clear and evident very early on, this was a Zach Bond revenge game because he's freshly off that team, being a free agent. This stop right here on 4th down, 4th-and-1 against Kamara, who he put up, 4 touchdowns last week? We held him under 100 yards, averaging 3.3 yards per carry. I mean, Zach Bond has been an absolute demon out there all over the field. It doesn't matter if it's in past situations, getting breakups or hitting guys as soon as they catch it, or even in the run game, shedding blocks and absolutely going one-on-one against running backs guys who have a lot of respect for, who have a lot of ability. And he said, nah, to hell with that. Y'all not picking up this 4th-and-1. I absolutely refuse. But all this it wouldn't even be possible to hold Derek Carr to under 200 yards, a touchdown and an interception, throwing for 14 out of 25 completions without the DBs and without a young guy like Quinyon Mitchell. I mean, Quinyon Mitchell is as advertised and as drafted. Actually drafted too low. Obviously, we love the fact that he dropped to us at 27. But the young bull has been ready since week 1, and he's starting to build the momentum. He's starting to build those good plays and stack them. Because you saw last week against the Atlanta Falcons, that pass that he let up on the sideline. But here he is getting tested against Rashid Shaheed, whatever his name is. This is a guy that he was killing the last 2 weeks in the NFL and absolutely shut out. That man went to Dunkin' Donuts, Krispy Kreme, and came back with donuts for this game because he did absolutely nothing. Yes, it wasn't putting you on all in the entire game, but you're talking about one-on-one situations against a guy who's a straight-up burner, almost coming away with a pick, and in the end zone, coming up with the PBU. 2 PBUs again in this game. I mean, this was an all-time defensive performance game, and obviously you already know how the game ended. The game ended as it should have, on the defense's back, where the defense absolutely showed up the entire game. Why not cap it off with a turnover, and really with a hallmark turnover by Blankenship, interception, 0 yards, but we secure it. And that's Reed Blankenship. That's every Blankenship's blueprint. He's gonna get that signature dive, pick off, and he's gonna stay right there on the ground. But if you notice and you look at this next clip, this play was only really made possible by something that we haven't seen a lot of, especially given the fact we were going against a juggernaut in this matchup. And what did BG do as BG does in true BG fashion? He brings it on when we absolutely needed it. Great pressure, just getting that center out the fucking way. And what does he do? Right in Derek Carr's face. He reminds Derek Carr who he is. And what happens? Interception, ball game. That is how you play defense in Philly. And that's really how you got to play defense to win games in this NFL, in this league. It's not always going to be easy. It's not always going to be, a shootout. Sometimes your defense is going to have to step up and your offense is going to have to do just enough to get the W. Again, this is a team that was averaging over 45. They put up 12. And really the touchdown that they got was because our coach decided to be a dickhead and kick a 60-yarder when we had 2 chip shots, and he refused. And what did that do? That put him right in position. Olave go ahead and scores. They up 7-12. But speaking of that, and speaking of the offense and its ineptitude and really just its ineffectiveness, this is our first drive with the ball. That shit was looking spooky very early on. I'm not even gonna lie. I wasn't shaking, but I was just like, man, this is about to be this is gonna be a tough one. It's gonna be a tall order, and they're gonna give us all we can handle, as I really anticipated going into this game. Yes, I thought we could pull this off 27-24, but I never expected the defense to step up the way that it did, especially given the way the offense was playing early on. I mean, absolutely did nothing with this first drive, and it ended with a sack. It was looking crazy. But as y'all know, and y'all should know by now, Saquon Barkley is absolutely the best running back in the entire league. There's no if, and, or buts, or about it. There's no discussion. This is the leading rusher in the entire league. I believe he leads in rushing touchdowns. If not, he's right up there. And really and truly, with great help from the offensive line, losing Mekhi Becton, losing Lane Johnson, and this is on the heels of what they did to Smitty on that hit where the ref should have absolutely blown the play dead, and he just gets railroaded by a lineman over 300 pounds. Saquon saw that and he said, you know what? All right, y'all want to play? We're going to play. Crib talk, house call, it's up 7-3, just like that. And really, when it came to the end of it, I've been banging the table on who we needed to contribute, especially in a game where we didn't have AJ. And at this point, obviously, there's no Smitty for the rest of the game with a concussion. That man, Dallas Goedert, had an absolute monster game. 10 catches, 170 yards, the game-sealing reception. And a lot of people have a lot to say in terms of us being lucky and the Saints not playing the right coverage. This is man-to-man, and this is a simple concept, mesh concept. If you're just really trying to get the defenders to run into each other, if not, slow each other down. The Saints were playing pretty good defense all game, but they were clearly too stubborn to change their coverage. And we hit them with that play 2 times on the same drive. We just switched to the other side, and pretty much the rest is history. They run into each other. Dallas runs as fast as he could for maybe 67 yards, slows down. If y'all haven't heard by now, go and check that clip out by Jordan Mailata. Him telling him to unhook the trailer and hit the gas. But in the end, that's back and forth with
Tyrann Mathieu.
But in the end, that's all we needed, and that was enough for us to pull out the W.
Big Dom is trying to keep him. Now Sirianni's running over to him. That's Clint Hurt. He's the defensive line coach. Big Dom, Sirianni.
He played a good game. Let's go ahead and just leave it there.
Yeah.
Small SEC love. Georgia boy doing all
thumbs down on him. That's right. As I was saying, that's all we needed. 15-12. That was enough for us to get the W in a hostile environment, which was in New Orleans. Guys that were considered world beaters before we went in their crib and did what we were supposed to do. And you see Jaylen Carter, man. You see Jaylen Carter. You see guys like C.J. Gardner-Johnson. We need dogs like that on this team. We cannot. This is the NFL. This ain't badminton. This ain't golf. This is not a finesse sport. Yes, there's finesse involved, but this is absolutely a physical sport where you got to be physical. You got to move men that are probably the same size and not bigger than you against their will. Having guys and really not having dogs on the team like Jaylen Carter or guys like C.J. Gardner-Johnson, you're asking for guys just to act out of character, and it obviously does not work in the end. Having a dog like Jaylen Carter is more than necessary, and I'm gonna bang the table for him to do that every week, because you saw the kind of game he had, and you saw what he did on the sideline, and I have zero issues whatsoever. But as you saw in that clip, he was letting the Saints players know, the fans in the stands know. Not only were y'all talking that shit, talk that shit now, baby. What's up? What's going on? What happened? We came in y'all crib, we handled our business. And in the words of a famous man, I want y'all to see this because this is probably easily my favorite clip. Not only after this game, but probably going to be one of my favorite clips.
What a top was that?
He said, I hate him.
He bad luck. What a top was that?
Yes. In the words of that famous man, where the choppers at? Where are they? You know what? I think that's enough talking shit for this video. We're gonna wrap it up, given that we got some injuries and really we're on to the next body. If Tampa Bay wants to be that next body, hey, we're gonna allow y'all to come with open arms. Even it doesn't matter if it's y'all crib. Clearly, we're not to be fooled with, we're not to be taken lightly. People been talking crazy. They expected us to fold without AJ. They expected us to fold because Jalen's not taking the best care of the ball. Obviously, these are things that we need to be concerned with, and we gotta be accountable for those things. But when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles, and when y'all speak on them, make sure respect is before and after. Because we sitting at 2-1 with all the adversity, with new offensive defensive coordinator injuries, and yet still people don't know how to respect us. Don't worry, we're gonna go out and earn it. We don't need it. We don't need y'all to give it to us at this point. We're gonna earn that shit week by week. That being said, this is the Talk My Shit Again podcast. I'm your way more hostile than humble coach, Cassius Cliff. We out to the next one. Peace.